I'm Derek,
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite Of.
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Sorry, I was stretching.
Stretching. Such luxurious stretching at the start of the episode.
I mean, we are hitting the ground running. Last week we finished Ms. Marvel. And no, we didn't. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Quick turnaround. We're doing another one. We, what we're covering, we love so much.
Yes.
So we had to just, in between what we're planning on doing next, figured why not do some episodes?
And we've probably said this on another episode, but when this first came out, we watched it in one night.
8 episodes.
8 episodes.
One night.
4 hours of pure joy and tears and love.
My God. And that's why we're talking about it now. We're extending Pride Month because technically, isn't Pride happening in the UK now?
I believe so.
So, hey,
It's July.
this takes place in the UK and still Pride Month.
I mean, hello.
Merry Pride Month.
But also, every month is Pride Month.
Yeah.
In this house, especially, because we're gay.
Yeah. Shh. They don't know. Remember when we had to come out?
I love that. That's my favorite thing. I mean, it's funny because it was this thing of we weren't being stealth in any way, but we weren't coming out and saying it. So people were like, wait, what? Who's getting married?
Spoiler. I mean, we're gay, but also I guess we had to tell you guys at some point.
Yeah. And also don't forget, last summer, we did that whole gay showdown thing.
Yeah, the Pride TV Championships.
That's a way better way of saying it.
Yeah. If Heartstopper existed during that time, it probably would have gotten further.
I think it would have won, right?
Yeah. But speaking of our personal lives and all that stuff, if you were following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at @AboutPod, probably would have known that we were homosexuals.
Gay, a bite of.
We also have a Patreon. So if you like the show and you want to support some gay creators,
yeah,
go ahead and do that. We have bonus episodes, bonus content. Hey, the person that recently became a Patreon member requested us to do this. We were already planning on doing it, but hey, this season's for you. It's for you. I mean, it just happened that when you...
Yeah, the stars aligned perfectly.
And if the stars align so much that you like us a lot, make sure you leave us a review on, Spotify.
And if you
Apple.
could, if those stars could align into 5 stars, that would be very...
Make 5 stars align to give us those. But yeah, anyway, so that's housekeeping stuff.
Yes.
Hi.
So in these episodes of A Bite Of, we will be covering 2 episodes of Heartstopper. So
Yeah.
it'll be a 4-week journey together.
Yay.
A month of love.
Yay. I mean, one of the things that some people usually say about us is that we're positive, which is nice. I like to think we're positive. I'm glad that shows. So I'm glad that we get to do something that is just nothing but positivity.
This show is joy. That is it. And I'm nervous about covering it because I feel like I'm not going to have the words to articulate how I'm feeling, because a lot of time while I'm watching it, I'm just holding my face and crying or just smiling so widely. So to be able to take those emotions and put them into words, I think is going to be a challenge. So bear with me. Some of my reactions might just be oh my God, sort of thing.
We have 4 weeks to hone it. So
hone the craft of speaking.
Yeah. But this is almost going back to our roots. When we started the podcast, we started it with Midnight Sun, which I know, hey, if you've been following us semi-recently, we've done a lot of Marvel stuff and some other heavier stuff like Black Manor and everything. But that's where our roots were. It was books.
Yeah.
And this happens to come from books.
Yes, it does. It comes from, originally a webcomic that became a graphic novel. But with anything, of course, I do my research. So I thought I would share my research with you, sort of the road to Heartstopper. Alice Oseman, the author and illustrator, was born in 1994 in Kent, England.
Oh my God, I'm older than her.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, but I was just like, whoa.
She's a prodigy. For
Yeah.
Sure. So I do have to say, in June of 2020, I was lucky enough to moderate a Scholastic's graphics panel that Alice was a part of.
Yeah.
So the quotes I have in here from Alice are actually from that panel.
She told them to you.
She did. These are firsthand quotes right here. This is a real interview that I did once before she was the Alice Oseman. She was like Alice Oseman, but now she's the Alice Oseman. So I asked the group of authors and illustrators when they first started creating, and she shared that she's been writing and drawing ever since she was just a kid. She said, quote, "Oh, it must have been when I was really little. I've been writing stories since I was a child. And I think one of the first stories that I wrote was basically an exact copy of the Digimon movie."
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It was so good.
That's also such a product of like born in the 90s kid.
Totally.
Digimon.
And just like that, like it's just the perfect like nerd kid thing to do, right?
Man.
Digimon was good.
Oh, my first experience with it was in, I don't know what grade. My teacher put on the Digimon movie. I had never seen it before.
Baller teacher.
Yeah, and I was like, what is this? And they're like, it's a TV show. And I was like, what?
Oh.
Then it exploded for me.
Yeah, like, so Digimon came around probably a little after Pokemon started.
Yeah.
So I had my little group of geeks on the block that I hung out with, and I had VHS recorded it off the TV the first Saturday that it was on. I was like, you guys, you gotta watch this show. It's amazing.
God. It's such a Derek thing.
Yeah, I had to spread the word. So before Heartstopper came about, she wrote 4 YA contemporary novels, Solitaire, Radio Silence, I Was Born for This, and Loveless. So she wrote her first novel, Solitaire, when she was 17, and it was published when she was only 19. So she was still in university, and her first book was published.
That's insane.
So Solitaire follows Victoria's Spring as she deals with mental illness, school pressures, new friendships, and an online group of pranksters. And in reading reviews of it, I haven't read it. People say, you might love Heartstopper, but this is nothing like Heartstopper. I
like that. I appreciate that. I like a writer that can do multiple things. This might still feel like them writing it, but I like the diversity in that.
It's way heavier than Heartstopper, so it's definitely a tonal shift. But this novel, Solitaire, is actually where Heartstopper began. So Victoria, aka Tori, is Charlie's older sister.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So
I gotta read it.
Yeah, so I'm wondering actually if later on in the series we're going to be seeing Tori deal with things that actually happen in Solitaire.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? So as supporting characters, Nick and Charlie are already a couple in the book, but Alice wanted to explore how they came to be. Originally, Heartstopper was plotted as a prose novel, but she just couldn't find the right fit, so she turned to illustrating their story instead.
Yay.
Yay. When talking about why she wanted to portray their relationship, she said on the panel, Heartstopper is obviously a romance, but it's also just about a relationship in which the two people really are supporting each other all the time and talking to each other when things go wrong. What I really want to avoid in Heartstopper is there being lots of awkward miscommunication and misunderstandings, which you often see in romances. Instead, Nick and Charlie are very open with each other, and when issues do arise, they always talk about them and talk things through, and that's why they're so good together. And you see that in the show. I feel like anytime there can be a trope of like, oh, here we go, here's the teen drama.
Right.
It's fine.
That's one of the apparent things when you read or watch Heartstopper is that it is those things, but it's not, it doesn't create drama just to create drama.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm kind of bored just making these people be in love. Let me create all this drama. No, I don't want it.
It's real feelings, real emotions. So
right.
Taking the sentiment and illustrating it, Heartstopper's life began as a webcomic in 2016. With an enormous online fan base, Alice crowdfunded a limited print-run edition. She shared again on the panel, in 2018, I decided to self-publish the first volume of Heartstopper because I didn't think that there was any chance it could get published traditionally.
Well.
Right? I even asked my agent because I'd written those other young adult novels before, and she said, there's not really any market right now for young adult graphic novels.
Boo.
Which is like so wild to say.
Boo.
So I decided to self-publish. I did a Kickstarter, and that took up many, many months of my life. But soon after that, I was very, very lucky that a publisher expressed interest in the UK.
Yay.
And that publisher was Hachette Children's Group. In England, they published Heartstopper Volume 1 in spring 2019, followed by Volume 2 in July of the same year. In the US, Scholastic published the first volume in 2020. Right before the US book release, Seesaw Films told Alice they were interested in making Heartstopper into a show, And here we are in 2022 when Heartstopper Season 1 premiered on Netflix on April 22nd to major critical and fan acclaim. It currently has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
As it should.
As it should. And shortly after its release, it was confirmed that there will be a second and third season to follow.
Yeah. 2 more seasons. And she drew it to announce it. I loved it. We shared it on social media.
And she's super involved with the TV show. She writes the script. She's on the set every day. She produces it. Yeah.
It is hers. I mean, it is kind of crazy that from getting published to then getting a TV deal, it was a couple of years. That's amazing.
Yeah. She I know, she just like had this vision. And it's interesting that her career really started out as just as a prose writer. But this thing, and she says in interviews, she's like, when I first started drawing Heartstopper, my skills in drawing weren't the best that they could be.
Okay.
But as it went on, they got stronger
Right.
and I found my footing more. So like Heartstopper kind of gave her own birth to becoming who she is today.
Yeah, I can write amazingly. Let me see if I can draw. Yeah, I can draw too.
Exactly. She's
She's
just
amazing.
one of those.
Yeah, amazing. Talented all the way through. And it shows. I'm glad on how involved she is, and she's so excited about it. And finally, more people are able to experience this story. If you don't want to read the book, you can watch the show. But I recommend doing both.
Do both. And this first season is actually based on the first 2 volumes.
Yes. Goes right from 1 to 2. And that's why there's 2 more seasons, because there's 2 more volumes. But then there's going to be a 5th volume.
It's a 5-book deal.
So maybe they're not going to announce that next season until that book's out.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And the webcomic is still running.
Yeah.
So I don't know when this story in her mind, if it will ever finish, it will keep going. I don't know.
Guess we'll see.
Indeed.
Until the heart stops.
Please don't let it stop.
The story will stop. I don't know. All right. So before we get into it, we have to issue a spoiler warning. If you have not watched Heartstopper yet or read the books or either one, I suggest you check those things out and then come back. And also be mindful that the series does deal with some heavy themes. So trigger warning and all that going forward here and out, bullying, non-consent, everything like that. So you have been warned, spoiler, and otherwise.
All right, so let us officially take a bite of Heartstopper, Episode 1, Meet, and Episode 2, Crush.
Crush.
Crush, 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 crush. Nothing compares to... Is that my first song of the song of the season?
First song of the season. All right, so... Oh my God, this show. How do you even talk about it? So Meet opens up with Charlie Spring returning to school after Christmas break. It's a very, I feel like traditionally, in UK stories, it's very, after Christmas break and stuff, then that's when the story starts. Every time. Almost. Even Harry Potter was like that. I'm not trying to bring it, but you know what I mean? As far as big stories. I don't know. It always revolves around that time.
Well, yeah, it is interesting because Christmas is, it's always, a big deal, but it is interesting when it's a school year, right?
Right.
In American shows, it's always I'm the new kid at school. It's September. This is a kid who's already existed at the school, but now after a break.
Yeah. Charlie walking into school gets a message from Ben via Instagram. Right off the bat, I do like the graphic novel elements that are in it. It's showing panels when it transitions from scene. I love that. Also, kids in their Instagram.
Well, yeah, that's also another thing is just, and it's like this in the books too. There is such heavy use of technology, which is so realistic to teenagers today.
Yeah, I mean, she's also writing what she knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I would find it hard to write a story without using technology in modern times.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think there's a lot of discussion about authors using technology because, one, technology can change so quickly that if it's there and then it's not that anymore, it feels dated. But also, it's hard to write technology because it's a different way of speaking.
Yeah, well, I mean, medieval stories do fine without it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because you were saying that you would want there to be technology, but I'm saying some people find it scary to write.
Yeah,
because it's easier to stay in medieval times.
Yeah, I don't know. If I did do it, I probably want to do TTYL and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that.
LOL.
Well, that's fine. I do that in every sentence almost. I'm a ha-ha. I put ha-ha in everything.
I'm a ha-ha guy myself.
Yeah. Are you a ha-ha guy?
Ha-ha guy.
Neither.
Are you a ha-ha person?
Yeah. Let us know. All right, so he makes his way into the school. He sneaks off into the quiet, empty library, but it's empty. Turns out Ben wants to meet him during break instead, which he couldn't have messaged him at any point. We don't like Ben.
Yes.
I'm just going to put that out there. We don't like him, nor will we ever like him.
Secret meetings that Ben requests and then doesn't show up for.
And then changes.
Yes, is pretty much the perfect introduction to who Ben is.
Also, during lunchtime, no thank you. Like, I'm busy eating. Like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, I never had time other than to eat.
I went to a very strict, not a very strict Catholic high school. They weren't like hitting kids with rules or anything like that. But like when you were supposed to be at lunch, you were at lunch. There was no wandering around the school to do other things.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could eat anywhere. I just was eating.
They herded you in like cattle and then they made you leave at a specific time.
No. Mm-mm.
I was a freshman, I had lunch at 10:30 in the morning.
Well, I had my first lunch at that time. And then
lunch?
I was in sports. So I got 2 lunches.
Sports.
They wanted us to eat.
You guys need calories.
Pretty much. Yeah. It was fun. I got to eat a lot. But so Charlie returns to his classroom and finds that his new seat is next to rugby star Nick Nelson. The two share simple highs. Insert swooning hearts here.
It's the first hi.
It's the first meeting. The leaves, the sounds that they do, the synth noise.
Well, and
it becomes such a staple for the comic.
They really do this, like, they're baiting you in the beginning because when he comes into his new quote unquote form, which I guess is homeroom in England. Your homeroom?
I don't know homerooms. I don't know what that means.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Oh, so in New York, I guess? I don't know. In some schools, you have homeroom. So you go to homeroom and it's the same group of kids like every day in your homeroom. And that's where they take attendance.
No.
For the day.
I have block scheduling. So you know how you have 8 classes?
Yeah.
One day I would do 4. The next day I would do the other 4. It was A/B scheduling. So my classes were long. They were over 90 minutes long.
Oh,
yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. 4 classes a day. And it would rotate. So it's like AB, AB, AB. Next week would start with B, A. Yeah. We didn't have homeroom. I don't know what that means.
We had day 1 through 6. And so you'd pretty much have all the same classes every day. They'd just be in a different order. And so it's like it's a day 1, it's day 2 or whatever.
That's weird.
Yeah. And
that's more confusing than mine.
But second period was always homeroom. And you went to homeroom and it was in alphabetical order by last name.
Why wasn't first period homeroom?
I don't know. You'd start in another and then you'd go to homeroom. I don't know why in my school, but it was very bizarre. But for all 4 years of my high school, you were basically with the same kids because it went in alphabetical order. So your homeroom was always the same.
Oh.
But I guess this is that idea, is that you have form where you go and maybe take attendance, but ours were not mixed grades like Heartstopper is.
Oh, yeah, no. Ours weren't. Well, depended on the class and if somebody in lower grades was smart.
Oh, yeah, the smart kids.
Yeah.
But for homeroom, you were always just with your grade. You didn't have it. You don't know.
Wow.
An education here on Abide.
They took attendance in every class for us, so...
Yeah, they did too. I don't know.
It's a lie. They lied to you.
Homeroom was attendance and like general announcements and things like that for like the school. Anyway.
Okay.
But when he gets there, they're like blocking his view. Like someone's blocking his view from seeing Nick. And it's like very mysterious. And then when he's revealed, there's shining lights behind him.
It's very Edward and Bella.
Yes, but done well.
Yeah, done better. And more like, oh.
Yeah, no one wants to eat anyone.
The fact that they used elements from the graphic novel in the show was not only smart, but it ties them together so nicely. The leaves are I know what this is talking about just from the leaves alone.
And when they use these elements, it's to highlight something very important.
And there could be like the sweetest moment happening, but then there's just that extra element that they add. I'm like, my heart is full.
The end of this episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
Later, Charlie, sorry to get away from a nice, happy moment. Charlie meets with Ben, and their relationship becomes abundantly clear. Charlie likes Ben, but Ben is using Charlie. That's what the relationship is. The two kiss, but then Ben wipes it off before he leaves. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, he's not great.
Right. Because there's something to be said about being in the closet still and hiding it. Like, you know, my first relationship and my first boyfriend and I.
You had a secret boyfriend?
Well, yeah.
Fun.
Oh, everybody knew, but we thought it was secret.
It was a secret to you guys.
Yeah, it's like, it's like the thing. It was like really bizarre because it was like we had the same group of friends and like we were with each other all the time and they can clearly tell. But it was like that next step of having to actually say,
oh, yeah,
I'm gay and where to get or whatever, So that's really the scary part. It's like you can act, you could share a slice of pizza or go on a walk together and everybody knows, but it's just that actually saying it. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get that thing of like, oh, we're just going to sneak around and have a kiss. But what Ben is doing is shitty.
I mean, and Charlie later on does pretty much say exactly what he should. It's totally fine with you figuring yourself out. But I'm past that, and I don't want to do that with you because also you're not doing it the right way.
Right.
You're being an ass to me, and also you're using me and not trying to figure yourself out.
Right.
Because there's a difference between like, yes, somebody that needs to figure themselves out, perfectly fine. But if you just want to have this weird secret thing, use somebody, and then go on your merry way, it's like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
For that person involved. If you want to do that, find somebody that's okay with it, but I'm glad that later on Charlie does, he's like, no, thank you.
And we learn that Charlie's been through a lot regarding his sexuality. So it's almost like this person is holding him back and then also using him on top of that. It's awful.
Yeah. Well, the next few days, we do get a really cute montage. There's a few montages in this show. But the montages of Charlie and Nick bumping into each other, seeing each other in hallways, sitting next to each other, all with the same simple hi. That's why if you've seen a lot of the motifs and stuff or the stuff with the show, the hi it's when they first met. It's the first words they said to each other.
Their deal. It's like the okay from the one about the kids with cancer.
Oh my God, A Fault in Our Stars. I like how that's how you describe it.
I know the elements and the emotions. Don't come to me for the title right now.
Not John Green.
That's his name.
What?
I knew. I was like looking for Alaska. That's the book of his that I really love.
That one is very good.
It's so good.
The Fault in Our Stars is also good. Movies, okay. It's fine.
Yeah, the Fault in Our Stars, the book to me felt a little too much like Dawson's Creek of like teenagers talking like they were 45-year-olds.
Well, it was a very mature teenage book of them dying. Lots of people dying, actually.
Really kicked off an interesting trend in YA lit called sick lit at the time. So.
I feel like we have recently talked about The Fault in Our Stars. I feel like we did last season for some reason.
There are stars in the last season.
Anyway.
But I do love in this montage that right after this montage, we get that very famous scene of them walking in the hallway together and they start kind of kerfuffling over some homework and Nick gets a little mark on his hand and then makes it into a smiley face.
Yeah, he marks Charlie's hand and then Nick just adds a little smiley to it. It's sweet.
It's so sweet. And as I watched it this time, I was like,
hard eyes.
Hard eyes. And then I was like, I would have never been slick enough to do that. I would have just gotten ankle over someone and been like, I'm sorry.
You know what ruins this moment? Ben.
You know what? You know who ruins every moment? Ben.
And then Harry later, but Ben.
And then sometimes Imogen, but she doesn't mean to, but still.
Yeah. She's an ally, damn it.
Damn it.
Yeah, so it's ruined with Ben. And we know, and Charlie knows, that they know each other. But Nick also knows Ben because he's within the jock circle.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben acts like he doesn't know who Charlie is. And it's like, okay.
And straight up says to him, why are you talking to me? I don't even know you.
You guys go to the same school. Like, you didn't have to go that far. And this is, again, not the appropriate way to figure yourself out.
It's also called just being rude.
Big Ben is a little Ben. He's a little tiny Ben.
He's a bitch.
Little Ben. Little Ben bitch.
Bitch Ben.
These are children, but still, he's a little bitch Ben child.
I mean, but still, children can be assholes, so it's fine.
100%.
They're in high school.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, official stance, hate Ben. That's all I'm going to say.
And we will stick by that.
Yeah. We finally get introduced to some of the most important supporting characters in the story, Tao and Issac. Issac is actually a new character, or maybe like an amalgamation of like some other characters. I feel like sometimes they do that for TV shows. If there was like a few supporting characters throughout a story, they kind of like morph them into one person.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've read the 4 volumes that are out now, and there is a 4th friend of the group, and his name is Elle. And he is he goes on his own journey with his sexuality and things like that. He's not a major player, not as much as Tao and Elle.
But kind of like Issac.
Yeah. But it's like he's gone. And it's like, but it's so funny. They added such really interesting quirks to the Issac character.
Love him.
I mean, this is like the dream role.
Yeah.
Because
do much.
He doesn't do much.
Yeah.
He just has to like sort of like nod appropriately, say maybe one sentence an episode, and always be reading a book.
Yeah. 100%.
Perfection.
Also great books, by the way. We're going to try to spot them out, and every time we see him reading it, we're going to let you know.
In this first episode, he's reading the second book in the Dune series, Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert.
I mean, of course he is. He's very well read.
Exactly. It's not even the first one. It's not even the first one. He's already on the second one.
Yeah. So speaking of Elle, we do find out in this particular scene and the episode that Elle has transferred to Higgs because they had transitioned and they had to transfer to an all-girls school and not an all-boys school. And that was the member that was in the group that's not there anymore. And Tao still buys her juice during lunch. Juice. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's like a little too sweet for a friend. I'm just going to say. Yeah. Just gonna say.
And then in this scene, we see Elle at her school sitting by herself in the lunchroom, in the canteen, as they call it.
Yeah.
But she's drinking her apple juice that Tao, but it's not the same one, but he wanted it for her, but she's still drinking it, but they're not together.
Yeah.
But
she's still drinking it.
But it's
either way, she got her juice.
Right.
During the time that she would have gotten it from Tao. So it's still sweet.
Yeah, they're still connected by the apple juice.
Yeah. The importance of this scene not only is to introduce these other main characters in Charlie's life. I almost get Nick and Charlie mixed up all the time.
Agreed.
So if I mix them up, just assume that I'm talking about one of the other.
No, I'm talking about the right one at all times.
At all times, even if they're in the same scene together. You know who I'm talking about. But Tao does warn Charlie about Nick because he does hang out with that typical jock group, the same type of people that have bullied Charlie in the past. Makes sense. I mean, It's a good friend looking out for him. As we'll see later in the series, Tao does have some reservations, but he also has some attachment. Like he needs to make sure his people are his people, and he doesn't like to open it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that comes with figuring himself out as well.
And I think in this scene, there's some fun things that happen. We get the flashback to the pen explosion scene, which is pretty famous from the graphic novels. We also get the line, he looks like a golden retriever.
Yes,
which
he does. That scene with him running and they said it, I was like, oh, he does.
And they like slow-mo it a little bit, so his hair is sort of bouncing.
Like the ears.
Yeah, like ears. Yeah. It's really funny. And we also do, like Noah had sort of mentioned, get into the fact that Charlie was bullied last year. He went through some stuff. And so Tao is looking out for him.
Yeah, he's a protective kind of, he's the protective bear of the group.
Right. He is willing to attack anyone.
He's also very outspoken, which I love him for that.
Should we talk about the hair? The Tao hair?
I mean, sure, it's fine. I don't mind it. It's a look.
It's just so funny how they stick so strictly to this hair with the hat. And in the books, he wears a hat like once and he just has like normal hair.
Yeah.
They were like, no, middle part, full on swoopy things on either side.
I think it's a good distinguishing thing because like when Charlie and Tao, even though Tao towers over Charlie a little bit, their profile is a little bit the same. So sometimes to distinguish that, I know that they'll just kind of wear that hat the entire time. I would kind of be upset if I had to wear a beanie every time I was filming and if it was hot.
So hot.
I'd be like, can I please take this off?
The lights, the weather, sweating profusely.
Charlie ends up meeting with Ben sometime later in the library. Ben does apologize for pretending not to know him. Who believes him? Nobody. I don't even think Charlie really believes him. In this, you see this scene, and I like this because I think since Charlie he does have a crush on Nick, obviously. It's very apparent from the start, but he has a feeling that he might not have felt before.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's talking with Ben, he does glance at the smiley face that's on his hand, and he's probably like, yeah, this is better than what's happening right now.
Right.
It was the catalyst for him sticking up for himself and what he wants.
It's that reminder to himself of like, oh, that's how someone should be talking to me. That's how someone should be treating me.
Exactly.
Not like this.
Yeah. We also do find out that he sought solace in one of the art teacher's rooms, which is nice because there's always that one teacher, especially in these like coming of age stories. There's always that one teacher that helps our protagonists along a little bit.
Yeah. He's like his gay guru.
Yeah. Yeah.
He sits in the corner with the painted tree branches and he just lays all of his gay drama on the line.
And I just love how every time this teacher is just like, just talk to them.
Right.
That's literally its advice. He's like, I don't know what to do. It's like a secret with this guy. And he's like, talk to him that you don't like it.
Tell him that how it makes you feel.
It's a very like simple thing, but especially in high school, you don't do that.
No.
You hardly even tell the person you want to date them. You just kind of like, I like you. Now you're boyfriend and girlfriend or boyfriend and boyfriend, girlfriend, all that immediately. Like you give somebody a Valentine. It's like, well, you're together now.
Memorize that date. It's your anniversary now.
Oh my God.
Don't forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Charlie spots Ben kissing the girl. So let's add more to the Ben hate. I promise, like, after this episode, like, there's a little bit more Ben hate, but Ben kind of fades away. But I think he is very important to Charlie's story and also Nick's story as well. But yeah, he's smooching up on a girl. So rightfully pisses off Charlie.
Yeah. And then so Charlie, in this moment, finally sticks up for himself and he messages him and says that I don't want to meet you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. We get this scene where we see Tori for the first time and he tells his sister Tori, like, you know, what's wrong? She was like, was he a knob?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah.
Tori is another one of these characters that is just such a gift. It's just her magical sister powers of just being able to appear anywhere.
Yeah.
Say the right thing, take a sip and leave.
Yeah. When we took on TikTok, if you're following our TikTok, we did like what Heartstopper character you are. I got Tori and I was like, yes.
That makes a lot of sense for you.
What?
You're a phantom.
What?
So Noah, which I will admit to, I am a heavy stepper.
Oh my God.
I am a born and bred heavy stepper.
He's like river dancing through the house.
Oh, if I could only be Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance. That was a dream as a child to be an Irish dancer.
Oh, weird.
Chanted the nation. The world. But Noah, on the other hand, I don't think his feet actually touch the floor. He hovers around like Raven from Teen Titans. And then he's just behind you.
Azeroth, Metro, and Synthos.
That is Noah. But the funny thing about Noah is that if you like are too quiet around him and he notices you, full on panic attack.
Well, yeah.
Like he's cooking dinner and I'll go for a walk. I'll come back. I'll just walk through the door and he literally makes a sound. Gah!
Well, because I'm listening to music, I can't hear. How dare you?
But you are definitely Tori.
Well, I like it. I like her character, so I'm totally fine with it.
I was Charlie.
You were Charlie Spring. Yep.
Sensitive, sweet,
you
complicated.
You'd definitely be. I think I would probably either be Tao or Tori, for sure.
You're towery.
I'm towery.
Yes.
So Charlie, back to the episode, Charlie is rightfully upset about everything, and how he blows off steam is he runs real fast during, I'm assuming, their gym class, their PE, whatever. Exercise is a very healthy way to get anger out and stress. So I completely agree with this. Nick does see how fast he is, and he's like, you know what? He needs to join the rugby team.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Not exactly what Charlie was hoping Nick would ask him, but I mean, it brings them closer together.
Yeah, he has that moment. There's a few moments where Charlie thinks in his head what Nick is going to tell him, and it's either bad or good. And when he goes up to him to like talk to him about the rugby stuff, what he sees is Nick opening up about his sexuality, that he's always been in love with him. But in reality, he's like, you should join rugby. And it's like, ooh.
I have to say that in this little like fantasy moment that Charlie has of Nick confessing his love to him, Kit Connor, who plays Nick, does such a good job, even in this little silly scene of like emotionally being present.
Right.
It's really impressive. I mean, the whole cast is just phenomenal. Everything. Okay, look, listen.
I think you like the show.
Everything about this show, the storytelling, the acting, the characters, the art, it's phenomenal.
Did you ever want to play sports in high school?
No.
Because you didn't have sports in your high school, right?
We did. We had track, baseball, bagpipes.
I think... I mean, lung workout. It's fine. Hey, I was a marching band. Don't you dare tell me that it's not athletic.
Look, I'm not saying anything. I stuck to my drama crew. I was a theater kid. But no, never in high school. But you did. You played a lot of sports.
Yeah, I played a lot of sports. I was very active. I'm very much like I was in high school now. I always have to be doing something. If I'm not doing something, I don't like it.
Yeah. A little like what? ADHD sort of
No,
moment
I just like, to me, I feel like if I don't mind, like I can be engrossed into a TV show like this one where we watched it in an entire night. But to me, like I have to make up that time that I didn't do anything by doing something. So it's like either being creative, reading something. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I always have to like balance out my time. That's just how I am. Like I'll have a stressful day at work and I'm like, you know what I have to do? Pick all the weeds in the yard. That's what
I know. I'll get home sometimes a little after Noah. Maybe I'm running an errand or something like that. And I'm like so spent from the day. I'm like, I just want to like just hang out for a little bit. Like just for like an hour. Noah is changed in the yard, getting the lawnmower going.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I guess I should be doing something.
So, yeah, he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, nothing. What?
So I go inside and I Swiffer everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be active too. I want to be a part. I want to be a good homeowner as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a balance. It's a very much a balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
Balenciaga.
So Charlie does end up joining the rugby team.
Another montage.
Prior to the montage, when he's about to go into the locker room for the first time, he hears the guys insulting him, talking about how they need to find somebody else. He's gay. Does he even like sports? This is 100% accurate. The thing that I do like about this show is that they do very well representation of being this young in an environment that's not exactly accepting of yourself and how you navigate those nuances. Because that was true. Even though I was, not to toot my own horn, very good at every sport that I did, there was always hearing them talking about like, this person's a F word, this person's gay, like all that stuff. And it's like, okay.
Were you out when you were on those teams?
Not in the beginning, but as I got older, I was. Actually, me and the star, it's, I mean, like, I think she stole the story from me. I'm just going to say.
She was in Texas.
No, but I was on the football team. This other person was on the football team. I broke up with my girlfriend that I was with from like middle school onto high school to then be with this person. And then we came out and everybody was very shocked because this person grew up in a Muslim household and stuff like that. So it was very like intense, but it was fine. It was fun. I mean, once you get to that point, the scariest part is actually doing it.
Yeah.
And then once you're there, it's just like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, everybody knows now.
Well, that's the brave step. I actually never came out in high school. So I was dating my first boyfriend when I was 16, 17. And then we were only out to our family and close friends. And then I graduated high school. He was a year younger than me. And then I was like fully out in college. But then he came out in senior year, and we went to a Catholic school, and everybody was like, "Yay for you!" But
well, that's nice.
It was nice, but like I was just never brave enough because I was bullied so much that like I was just too scared.
Also, you come out when you want to come out. Nobody can make you. Nobody can force you. Nobody should come out for you.
That's what I always say. People will, even to this day, even as an adult, people come up to you if you're gay, and then when you're out, and they're like, "Oh, do you think so and so is gay?" And I'm always kind of like, they're not. They are what they are until they say what they are.
Right.
It's like people, if they're not ready to come out of the closet, they're not. And so if they're saying they're straight, they're straight. You can put whatever stereotype on someone and say they're that thing, but it's not until they say.
No.
You have to keep your stereotype. Someone.
Yeah, keep your stereotypes to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I feel like this season's going to be very much like you guys are going to know so much about us if you stick around.
Are these our memoirs?
Because it's so, this does hit so close to home with us for a lot of things. So, just you'll hear a lot of things.
I think that's why it's such an emotional watch for me. And I think for you too. I think you feel it as well. It's because it's so centered in very real feelings.
Yeah, I think out of everybody in this show, I identify with Nick more as far as his story and stuff like that. Mine diverges a little bit, but it very much seems like that. You're meant to be this certain way. You can't be this way. And then how do you navigate that? Hello. Yeah, so a lot of interesting things for these kids to navigate. But it's very well done in this, especially for a coming of age, coming out story that's transcends ages. I like it.
Yeah. I think at a certain base level, queer people have a similar experience somewhere along the line of being brought up as what you're quote unquote supposed to be, and then finally taking that step to be true to yourself.
Yeah. Acceptance. Yourself, other people will accept you. You'll find people. Community. Hello. Those are the steps.
Good words.
That needs to be on a poster. These are the steps to coming out.
Community. Hello.
Hello.
The final one.
Yeah. Okay. So we're getting towards the episode in this one.
This is the climax of the episode.
Yeah. So after practice one practice day that they were having, Charlie and Nick, go their separate ways. Charlie goes into the school. It's after hours, so they typically don't. But you kind of see Nick stay back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Ben wants to meet with Charlie after he's like, don't talk to me, everything like that. He's like, fine, I'll go talk to him one more time. Goes in there. Tries to convince Charlie that like they need to talk, like it's fine. I'm just figuring myself out. It's all the like, yeah. I've heard it before, whatever. It's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But then he like forces himself onto Charlie, which is a complete, like, does not matter what you're doing with yourself. You did not, it's not, they didn't consent to it.
No means no.
Right. I mean, he obviously said no how many times? That's your word. If you hear no, whatever you're doing, you need to stop.
And in this scene, watching this scene, it's very uncomfortable to watch.
It's very uncomfortable because most of the show has been,
light,
positive.
Yeah.
But with some of that, there is some dark stuff.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Nick stuck around, saved Charlie.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm pretty sure he told you no when he makes him leave, which is amazing. They go their separate ways. Charlie doesn't know what to tell Nick. But what he does tell him is, thank you, X. And then you see Nick's face light up. I'm like, oh, he's gay.
and in this moment, they put in a little animation of birds, and you hear just some seagulls, and it just makes it so magical. And the look on his face is that look of so happy,
right?
But so scared, at the same time, because what does it mean?
Well, he's in the car with his mom too.
And who's his mom?
Guys,
I'm surprised you didn't lead with this.
I was getting there. I was letting you talk.
Oh, thank you. Letting me talk.
I love Olivia Colman. When I did not know she was in this show prior to starting to watch it. As soon as she came on the screen, I looked at Derek and was like, I love this show. There's very few
sealed the deal.
There's very few actors where I'm like, I love everything they do. And she is one of them. Oh my God, The Crown. Watch it.
You know what you should watch is
The Crown.
A montage of Olivia Colman accepting awards.
Oh my God, it is so good.
She's so good because she's like so funny and she's so like bumbly
and sweet.
Yeah. It's adorable.
Yeah. Oh my God. What an opening to the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a good precursor to what's to come. I remember watching the first episode and I'm like, if the rest of the series is going to have this level of like wholesomeness and seriousness and just sweetness, I'm sold. It does.
Spoiler alert.
It does. It gets better.
And I think that if you don't know anything about this series and you're going in to watch it, you're going to be like, wait, what is going to happen between them? What, they do such a good job to not let you on to like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to be together.
It's not so apparent with a few things in the show, but it's well worth it. You need to sit with it just a little bit. Move on to the next episode because we're doing 2 episodes in one, which I feel like was intentional, but also just makes sense with the episodes because it kind of leads into the other one nicely. I feel like every 2 episodes, there's like a new kind of like mini arc that's happening.
Good call.
Yeah, we're doing it. Crush opens with Nick Stroll. Oh my God. Scrolls. I was saying strolls. He scrolls through Charlie's Instagram and he comes across a photo of him in the a hallway with the caption, hates it here.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that this is when he was being bullied because he was looking at all the nice pictures and it becomes apparent that like, oh, I don't think Nick really knew that.
And it's also the same hallway. It's the hallway that leads to the locker room where he now goes for rugby practice.
Exactly.
So now Nick is now feeling a lot of things. He's feeling protective over Charlie. He's feeling maybe
butterflies,
more than friendship for Charlie. And so he sees this and a piece of him almost feels guilty in the sense of, I asked him to be on this team and now he's going to this place that he hates every day.
Yeah. The way they did this scene was really cool. You have Charlie playing the drums, which is intensifying the scene. It's increasing the tension. And then you have Nick looking through it and trying to figure it out. But then it goes a step further and showing Charlie in the hallway with like animated bullies and Nick looking at it. It's such a smart and creative way to do that without like really sticking with it too long. They give you these like short instances of like, you need to know about this, but this isn't the story we're telling. We're storing after this.
Yeah. And you hear the words, you hear the bullies, and there's that saying of sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But it's untrue. Names hurt a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so we see in Nick's mind him seeing Charlie be hurt by these words, and he can't stand it.
Yeah. Yeah. He tries to starts talking to Charlie about the Bencident that happened, and he wasn't really sure how to like talk to him about it, but he does talk to him. We get a flashback of how Ben and Charlie started kissing in empty rooms and stuff like that. And it's just, I mean, from the beginning, I don't even want to talk about it that much, but it's just like, oh, I heard you came out. I needed a gay outlet. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it was. That's all it really was. And he used Charlie for that.
Right.
Which is shitty because Charlie thought it was something that it wasn't. But he knows that now.
I also want to just mention in this scene, another star of the show, Nellie, the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Who is played by Echo, Echo has their own Instagram account and has like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Good for them.
And is killing it.
Yeah.
This little beauty. I also like this scene because as they're messaging each other through Instagram, you see a lot of like second guessing of replies. And in the beginning of any relationship, I feel like you want every message you send the other person to be the most perfect, well-crafted message ever.
There's also that extra layer with the scene where like, I think Charlie's trying to figure out Nick.
Right.
So he's like waiting for him to be like, I love you, or like, your lips look kissable or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is that. It's like everything you need to send needs to be like, this is the best text ever. but also, are you gay?
Right.
Like,
that's such a real thing.
he sends the supportive straight friend thing. Like,
Yes.
you know, so
that's,
it's like,
that's the thing of like, you're my supportive straight friend.
yeah.
And then he like sort of acknowledges it. So he doesn't answer any of Charlie's questions.
Did you ever have a crush on a straight person? Like, not like, oh, I think Chris Evans is beautiful. Like an actual crush on a straight person.
I don't.
We're married, so I don't care.
No, I honestly don't think so. I mean, the only person I can think of is that there was this kid in high school, and I don't think I necessarily had a crush on him. I think I was just like very jealous of him because he's straight, and
Everybody liked him.
Everybody thought he was great. He was a handsome kid. He was incredibly intelligent, but he also danced.
Well, wow.
So he
could be, and I put this in quotes, feminine, but also be accepted as a cis straight,
because he played sports and whatever, and but he could dance. And so I actually quit dancing before I went to high school,
right?
Because I was too scared to go to high school and be the kid who danced.
Mm.
Because basically, when I got to high school, it was my mission to have no one notice me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I'd been bullied so much in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade that I didn't want anyone to know anything about me.
Yeah.
And so I just tried to hide as much as possible for like the first 2 years of high school. So seeing this kid, it was just like he amazed me because he got to be completely authentically himself.
Right.
And the fact that he got to dance and he was on the dance team at school and he still played sports and whatever, it was like, I wish I could be that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like for us, it's like, oh, I like the same sex or whatever. So like, that's why, but it's like, if we weren't taught that and we weren't taught that this is bad, the confidence alone and just being authentically yourself, that's why they were able to do that. And nobody said anything different because it's like they were able to be authentically themselves.
Yeah. Did you ever have a crush on a straight guy?
No. I mean, all throughout high school until I finally, like, something just like clicked to me, or like I just got frustrated with everything. Like, I grew up in a very religious household, very like Texan conservative, all that stuff. I think like something in me, like I got to that like level of maturity or like own sentient thought where I was like, this is stupid. Like, this makes no sense. Why am I being told this way? Because I've tried not to be that way. It's not working. Hello. You know what I mean? So it clicked for me. But I think a lot of times when I would have had a crush on like a straight person, I was pretending to be straight. So like, I couldn't remember if I did. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, it's interesting, right? I feel like we were in two very different closets. You and I.
Yours was like cracked open.
Yeah, mine was. Well, that's the thing is that like, so my parents, like all those things, right? That like parents fear their boys playing with My Little Ponies. Their boy wants, whatever, any quote unquote girl toy. My parents were never the ones smacking those toys out of my hand. So it was like I always had that freedom in my home to be who I was.
Right.
And then it was just finally up to me to finally come out. And I actually ended up coming out with my first boyfriend. We were together, so we kind of had that luxury of coming out together. Whereas I feel like with you, it almost felt like for yourself, you were trying very hard to be straight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were 6 of us in a Christian household. Duh. I don't want to be the only one out of 6 to be like, hello, I'm gay. No way. That was not going to happen.
It's scary.
Yeah,
very
it was scary, but oh well.
So going back to the scene here, this is the first time we get a really good look at Charlie's bedroom. And the sets on the show are also fantastic. They built his bedroom to the T of how it is in the books.
Oh, yeah.
The neon music sign where his drums are placed, his bookshelf, the posters on the wall. It's perfection.
That's the beauty of like somebody that's on the show being like, I created the set already, like just recreate it in real life.
Yeah, they really honored the story. And that's what's so impressive about all this.
Yeah, so we kind of leave Nick and Charlie for a little bit, but it's you can tell that Nick might be struggling with some feelings of his own at the end of that scene. But at Higgs, we see a little bit more of Elle. I love this character. I like the story that they did with this character in this show. And this part particularly, where it's like they're new at a school. As a military brat, I completely get that. I went to new schools all the time. I went to 3 different high schools just in high school alone.
Oh my gosh.
It is completely true that guidance counselors will be like, do you make any friends? Well, I'm going to make you make a friend. I'm going to get a random student that's probably on like, I don't know, the bullshit like elected committee of the students to like be a fake friend for you and stuff. Like, it's awful.
Yeah.
So like, but like most of the time kids are fine. Like they will find.
It just takes a moment.
Right. Like some kids don't like to really talk to anybody and some kids do. Just like leave them alone. But so the guidance counselor is like, Elle, you need to make friends. Like, put your phone away at lunch. It's like, okay.
Back off, lady.
Back off. I'm literally talking to my friends.
Yeah.
Like, if we didn't have these separate schools because of gender, maybe I would have friends. I'm going to put that out there.
About that.
Yeah.
How about that? You know, something that's interesting about the Elle character and also where Charlie is right now is that it feels like for both of them, something huge happened right before we joined their lives. You know, Elle being still at Truum, probably being bullied, having to deal with strict rules there and having to make the decision to transfer.
Right.
Charlie being bullied. And then we're joining him after all that. So they have like this past history of some trauma that happened, but we're joining them now in this moment.
Yeah.
But here at this school with Elle, we get our first glimpse of the dynamic Tara and Darcy.
Yeah, they end up kind of bringing her into the inner circle a bit. But I thought this was really smart to do in the show and the story-wise is that these schools, they know each other. The kids know each other. They're not like that far from each other.
Like brother-sister schools.
Right. And so it's talked about in the episode that Nick likes a girl because like Tao is like continuously trying to like tell Charlie like, hey, I'm warning you, it's not good. Don't fall for this person, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like rumor that Nick likes a girl that goes to Higgs and her name is Charlie. Not Charlie. Her name is Tara. Charlie can be a girl's name too.
Yeah. True.
Just saying.
Remember, if he gets the names wrong, you know, meant the right person.
Exactly. Have you not been listening to us for like 2 years? You know. You know if you know. But so, yeah. So there is that moment of, oh no, is Nick actually straight or not? Does he actually like this girl? Turns out no, because Tara and Darcy are actually in a relationship. And I love that Elle found her community by happenstance almost.
Yes.
Not from the guidance counselor assigning her a friend. I told you, just wait a second. Her pencil case needs to fall and then they'll be friends.
Well, guess what? Tara is just a full-on delight.
Oh, yeah.
She's just an angel.
I love both of these characters, yeah.
And Darcy's a little quirky and is special in her own way, and they're just a great pair. And it's, you know, there's just these, in this show, there's these two groups of kids that come together to form like this most amazing group of friends.
Yeah.
And you can't help but love all of them.
Oh, yeah. Everybody from the bookworm all the way up to Nick.
Isaac.
Yeah.
The bookworm.
Yeah. I love them.
Speaking of Isaac, he is reading Naruto volume 72 in this episode.
I didn't even catch that.
Again, he is on a journey.
Yeah.
He loves the series and he's far into it.
Yeah. Back at Truham. Truham?
Truham.
Truham?
Truham.
Truham, not fake ham. Nick shows...
The realist ham.
Nick shows Charlie pictures of his super adorable dog, Nellie, and invites him over to meet her. How slick. How slick, Nick.
Interesting.
Ooh. Yeah. So Charlie does end up heading over to Nick's. The two spend the day playing video games, arguing about how good Charlie is at things and playing in the snow. All of those things.
Nick touches his hair. Charlie covers his mouth. They fall onto the bed. They have a romp in the snow. They make snow angels. They take pictures.
It's
so
very
beautiful.
cute. It's a very adorable montage. I'm here for it. Nick's mom, after they hang out, Nick's mom, and I wanted to talk about this scene specifically, or at least point it out, because his mom does play a big part in the series later on. Nick's mom asks about like how Nick met Charlie. She thinks that Nick is more himself when he's around Charlie. Moms always know. Even if they don't know, they know.
Yeah.
Except for my mom, she didn't know.
Well, you know what's funny is that like my parents are new, but this person I was friends with at the time, I wasn't fully out to my friends yet, but I was very much in my first relationship, very much in love. And so I had like lost a lot of weight and I had gone tanning and all this stuff or whatever, like bleaching my teeth. I was just like super gay summer Derek.
Painting quite a picture.
Ooh, baby.
Puka shells.
Sleeveless shirts. I'm ignoring that. Sleeveless shirts. And so I was at my friend's house and her grandmother or whoever was like, everybody was like, "Oh, Derek, you look so good." And she goes, "I know why." And everyone was like, "What?" He goes, "He's in love." But it's just like,
whose voice is that?
This woman.
Oh.
You don't know her.
No, it sounds like a character. That's what I was asking.
It's sort of Roz from Monsters Inc. Mike Wazowski. Yeah. But everybody was like, "Oh no, stop it." But she was right. So there's just that thing of like,
oh yeah, they know.
That you just give off this thing when you're so happy and you're feeling so much as yourself. There's that freedom that people around you can notice.
Yeah, exactly. And Nick's friends and close people start noticing that he's like texting people, texting Nick, texting Charlie. Oh my God. See, I told you I'm going to get these names mixed up. Nick is texting Charlie.
What did you tell me? We have 4 episodes to get it right. You'll get it right by the last one.
Yeah. So Nick is texting Charlie. I had to think about it again.
Narc is nursing newly.
And all his friends are noticing it. And Imogen, this is when we first see her. She kind of like, who are you texting? It's like, oh my God, girl, get out of here. And it does freak him out a bit. The more that he kind of gets comfortable with Charlie and people notice that he's like acting a little different, the more he kind of pushes away a little bit.
Yeah, especially
because he's not ready.
Yeah. By the way, he's on his phone, Imogen. He was about to invite Charlie over.
We all have that friend. We all have that friend.
She ruined it.
Yeah, that does that. Yep. All have that friend. Tao does have a very important talk with Charlie about the whole Tara situation. They end up meeting. They ask Elle to ask her. Mm-hmm. In French class, it turns out they were kind of giving Elle hints with saying like, I don't have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. And she's like, wait.
Yeah, they say like, bonjour.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
French.
So even though Charlie's friends keep warning him about don't fall for the straight guy, turns out he's like, okay, but I'm still gonna explore this a little bit. So he invites Nick over to his house. Mm-hmm. So they're like swapping, going to each other's houses. You get to meet my room, I get to meet your room. Are you gay? Hello. Yeah. But this is where we get a scene where it almost can, because up to this point, it's like you can kind of see Nick like maybe, or he's just like a really nice guy. You're not really too sure.
He's conflicted.
Right. So after they kind of have a cute moment on the drums where Charlie's trying to teach him how to play the drums, Charlie falls asleep. I had to think of the name.
I saw that journey in your eyes.
Oh my God. Charlie. You know, their names are just like, they're not so different as far as like, they're just such normal names. You know what I mean? So that's why like in my head, I'm trying to like, wait, who's who? And I always would get them swapped prior to the show. I don't know.
We just have to keep saying it.
Yeah. So Charlie falls asleep. Nick is still awake. And he sees Charlie's hand just ever so slightly opened, faced up. Perfect.
Wanting to behold.
Perfect for the handhold. And Nick's like, I'm just gonna hover over this. Sparks start flying.
Literal sparks.
But he doesn't do it.
No, he's not there
Which is totally fine. But he did a big step. He tried. Mm-hmm. Which, kudos for him.
And that scene is, again, it's the fear, right? The fear is stopping him from going there. He wants to, but he just can't bring himself to do it.
Well, also in high school, the small things are big things.
True.
Because you don't have bills or a job. So, but
you're right.
They're so big.
He sat next to me on the couch. What does that mean? His leg is touching my leg. What does that mean?
He held my hand and he hit a drumstick on a thing. What does this mean?
We sat on the stool. What I mean? You're right. Everything feels so momentous, especially when there's the layers of first crushes and, queerness and high school. It's a lot to do with.
This same scene, we get the hug.
The hug.
The hug. And my favorite Tori line, pretty much almost in the entire series. She says, I don't think he's straight. She was just in the hallway.
Vanish.
Watching this happen. Because Nick leaves and I don't think he's straight. And he's like, huh?
She knows everything.
when he gave Charlie a hug, but he like gave him a hug.
Yeah.
He put his like head into
body to body.
What do you call it? The crick of the neck?
Crick.
Like, his shoulder. He was just like nuzzled in there. It's like, he also told him he looked really cozy.
He looked really cuddly, he says.
Cuddly. There we go. Which is, yeah.
He just like, he wants to so badly, but he can't do it. Oh my gosh. And then Charlie also locks his arms around his torso. It's like, that feeling it could be true.
Yeah, this is relatable to a lot of people. I mean, there's the extra layer of like not knowing if Nick is like okay with like dude on dude stuff, but like Charlie reaches out to his friends to be like, I did this hug. I don't know what this means. You know what? So it's like, it's cute. It's not just a coming out story. It is a coming of age story and a love story. So it's that, oh, does he like me? Do you think he likes me? It's like, yes, like they like you. Like nobody hugs somebody like that.
I also think that there's something, at least this is how I felt. When I was still in the closet and only out to myself, I painted a picture of a life for myself where I would never find someone because it felt so far from what I was going through now.
It was in Texas.
It was scary and it was sad. And so like when people were like, do you want to get married? I'd be like, nope, I just want to have a dog and that'll be it. And that's all I'll do. And I remember when I had my first boyfriend, when we were like finally saying to each other like that we liked each other, we were online using Instant Messenger.
Oh my God.
And I started asking him trivia questions about our group of friends because I was testing him.
That's mean.
To make sure it was actually him.
Oh.
I was scared that it was someone pretending to be him. So I was like, what's this person's sister's name?
I thought you were testing him to be like, are you worth the time?
No. I couldn't believe.
Which also I'm here for.
I know. I couldn't believe that it was happening. There was another boy like me who liked me back.
Right.
And it freaked me out. I was like, this is a trick. It's a bully. It's very bad.
Well, that's sweet and also upsetting.
Well, I think that's the reality of it. And so I think that's very much this feeling that's happening both for Nick and for Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, Nick is trying to figure himself out, but also kind of crushing on somebody. And then Charlie is like finding somebody that is giving to him what Ben couldn't give to him.
Right.
After just getting bullied.
Right.
It's very sweet. It's a lot of stuff happening, but I like that we're seeing this story at the good moment and not experiencing all that stuff prior. And it does come back, but
yeah. But I also think that's sort of like we said before, the beauty of this whole thing of that she's not going to let us sit in awkward moments. We're going to feel the emotion, but she's going to sort of not necessarily solve the problem, but she's going to make us feel good about what's happening.
Exactly.
But we also do. So another thing to be said about this series is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
To this series. So right after the hug, Nick is looking at a picture of Charlie and Why Am I Like This is playing. The scene is like super emotional. And then, of course, he goes home and, as any modern teen might do, goes to Google and writes, "Am I gay?"
Did you ever do that?
No, I knew.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I knew since I was like 12.
I mean, I didn't really do it, but I did do it. I don't know exactly what I looked up, but I know I did look up something. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if I looked up, like, how do you not be gay? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not as serious, but I'm like, is this like something I don't have to do? You know?
Is this possible?
Like, it's just like, I'm just tired. Like, I don't want to hide all this stuff anymore.
It's so much work. It's so much work.
The show really does do a good job with using soundtrack, visual, and then what's actually happening in the show to really convey what's happening.
Yeah. And what's interesting, though, about our two characters here, right, is that the hug meant different things for the two of them. So Charlie's almost celebrating it through messages with his friends.
Yep.
And did I say Charlie? No, I'm confused. And Nick.
See, I told you.
Nick, on the other hand, that hug
awakened.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what does that mean?
Or made him realize, right?
Yeah. So they're on the same path, but they're going on two different routes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad, like, so these two episodes are really good at like introducing us to what's happening and setting the course of the rest of the series, because it planted all those seeds. We have Ben that's upset because Charlie's like, fuck you, and also Nick is like, fuck you. And then we have Nick looking to kind of explore his feelings. Charlie is wanting to explore more feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Tao is missing Elle. Elle is possibly missing Tao, but Elle found people.
Yay.
So that's really good. Isaac is fine.
Isaac is reading books.
He's fine. He'll always be fine. He's a joy. If you don't, he did video vlogs of when they were filming.
Oh my God.
So a lot of behind the scenes stuff. If you look it up on YouTube, Isaac completely, the actor that, plays
Toby
Isaac.
Donovan.
There's his name. I don't know his name. But he did a series of vlogs. They're really sweet. They're so cool. You get to see a lot of cool stuff. Also, he's just really sweet. He has more lines in that than he does in the show.
And that's the thing is that I loved Isaac when we watched it, and then I discovered his vlogs, and he's so sweet in real life.
Yeah.
And he's
Isaac.
He's Isaac, and this is his first big acting gig, and so he's just like reveling in every moment of being there, of going to makeup, of getting his costumes, of all the little trinkets, everything. And so being able to watch this amazing moment in a person's life while creating this amazing show, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
He had like
you can watch.
Yeah. Sorry. He had like 100,000 subscribers in like a day.
Good. He deserves it.
Yeah. So episode 2 of Heartstopper ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. We don't know where these two are going, but
what does the quiz say?
What does the quiz say? We'll find out next time. But, an episode of A Bite Of can't end on a cliffhanger, but there's got to be a special segment.
Psych, end of episode. Bye.
Bye. No, so this special segment is really me just living my librarian dream, and I'm calling this special segment TBRL Heartstopper Edition. So it's to be read and loved. So I'm going to be recommending to you some wonderful gay YA graphic novels that you should all check out because they will make you feel as lovely and as wholesome as Heartstopper. So the first one is Bloom, written by Kevin Panetta and illustrated by Savannah Ganusho.
Very good. Second one's coming out soon.
Yes, which is very exciting. So Ari recently graduated from high school and wants to venture off into the unknown with his friends and the band they created. His parents have put their blood, sweat, and tears into the family bakery. Baklava, streusel, muffins, and fresh sourdough rolls have been at the center of the family for Ari's entire life. He wants nothing to do with baked goods and the family business. To try and follow his own dream, which is on the coattails of his less than welcoming best friend and bandmate, he puts an ad out for someone to take his place at the bakery. Well, enter Hector. Hector is busy tying up some loose ends at the home of his grandmother, who recently passed away. To try and make some money over the summer, Hector sees the ad and jumps at the chance to work at the bakery. Hector's first love is baking. He soon gets the job and begins training with Ari. In the beginning, Ari can't stand Hector's wanting to learn everything he can from him and his family, but soon the pair start to get closer. Will this summer be romance, or will it all go up in flames?
Yeast.
Yeasty.
No, instead of yes, I said yeast.
Ah, yeast. Yay, yeast queen. I can't recommend this enough. There's some beautiful sprawling spreads of baking and dough and all sorts of wonderful recipes.
The illustrations are also fantastic.
Yes, and it's like the whole thing is done in this like gorgeous like summer teal color. Highly recommend, and I'm so excited that the second one is coming out soon.
Yeah. Recommended too. 2 recommends.
Two
Go read
recommendations, baby.
So next week, Heartstopper, episode 3 and 4. Get ready. If you haven't watched it, watch them right before Friday. And then listen to us.
Keep watching them. Just watch all 4 hours of the show constantly.
Yes. All right. Till next time.
Bye.